Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel or you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, so when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. We have not got any tea, darling. We are all about the beer out here. So I don't even have a title, but I'm gonna maybe call this one Chickens Coming Home to Roost, okay? I'm just gonna keep this short because there's not really much to say. You know, I'm lying. I'm probably gonna be here like half an hour. So let's talk about the recent incident with the young girl in the dumpster, okay? Now, I wanna say from the outset that the way the boys handled it was not right. However, one of the boys who was involved has put out a video explaining why they reacted the way they reacted. Now, I heard already that the girl provoked them, okay? So I didn't know exactly what happened, but I knew that she was at least being allegedly abusive in some way. So according to one of the boys who actually was there when, you know, involved in throwing her in this trash can, he was like, she was touching them. She was touching, apparently going towards their private parts. She was dancing on them. And then at one point even spitting at them or on them. So it seems like she was flirting with them. Maybe she knew them, or maybe some, you know, a conversation started, and then she thought like she was too comfortable. She thought she was too bad. Apparently they even called her sister to bring her in, and she refused to go in. So after she became abusive, that's when they began to become quite hostile with her. And as a result of the hostility, that's when they retaliated and threw her in the trash. Now, I don't agree with them picking her up and doing what they did. That wasn't a manly way to handle the situation. However, out of a scale of 1 to 10, I do not wrong them 100% for showing her what time it was. And I know that's going to cause a lot of uproar. I know some of the women are going to be like, I'm not going to listen to this anymore. Okay, but this is what happens in an environment where feminism rules. This whole concept of the strong black female, I mean, for a start, if this happened recently, we know that it's coming into summertime, and that picture is pitch black, okay? I don't know about where you are, but where I am at 9 o'clock at night, it is still light. So if it is pitch black with street lights on, that means to say you're a young girl walking road at a late time. What are you doing out on road in the first place? I'm not saying you shouldn't be allowed to go out. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel free to walk safely on the streets. But there are dangerous people of all races floating around in the day, let alone at night. You're a young girl and you look like you're out maybe even on your own, because with that the short footage where you see them picking her up or saying, give the guy a kiss, blow him a kiss, and then going in the dumpster, you do not see any other females there. Nobody on her side is there. So should you be able to walk road as a female on your own? In a perfect world, in an ideal world with the fairies and the unicorns, yes. But we don't live in that world, especially if you live in urban areas. I mean, even during the day, with all this lockdown business, there's only like drunks and homeless people and drug addicts roaming about all day, them and the police. At night, it's even worse. So why are you out and about when there isn't really anybody of consequence on the road as a young girl on your own? You see this, I'm strong, I'm bad, nobody can touch me, you know, I can do it, I'm fine. That whole strong and independent Wakandan warrior business is what gets a lot of females into trouble, because they put themselves in situations they just don't need to be in. Okay, it's going back to the whole protection argument, and, you know, the colorism crying crew talking about oh, where are the good men who are going to support this and support that and protect? Sometimes we don't need to be in certain places where we need to be protected in the first place. And if it's true that this girl was actually the the one who provoked them, provocateur I think it is, okay, then you cannot blame them for feeling disrespected and then teaching her a lesson. I don't agree with what they did, but at the same time, they didn't punch her up, they didn't, beat her, they didn't rape her. They just said, look, seeing as you want to treat us like trash, we will give you trash. And a lot of the times women, they want to run up on grown men. I mean, who remembers last year with the little girl fighting the white man who had the disabled daughter, and the group of black kids were kind of attacking the daughter, and then one of the girls tries to run up on this grown-ass white man and he knocked her out. The thing about it was this: when she came at him the first time, he pushed her away. He didn't just say, right, let me just grab one of them, who's the most vulnerable, let me just start beating them. She came at him once and he pushed her away. After she realized she'd been pushed off, she came again and he hit her. Okay, and as much as it's painful to see a child being hit like that, it's painful to see a grown man knocking a little girl out. The question has to be asked, why does she think it's appropriate as a little girl to be running up on any man or male? Okay? So a lot of these colorism criers, they're going to start talking about the poor dark-skinned black girl. Obviously it must be because she's dark-skinned. No, it's because you don't have home training. People can say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, it's black women that support these rappers. Again, I'm not blaming the victim. I'm not condoning that what these young men did was right. Of course, their behavior was appalling. But if a lot of the black women that I've seen or heard online, they talk about how these young males, they're looking up to rappers and these rappers are disrespectful. And as I've said in other videos, no one forces black women to go in these videos in bikini. No one forces these girls to do hot girl summer. No one forces these females to twerk or do cucumber competition and pretending to do certain things to different kinds of fruit and veg. Okay? So women like to always deflect from their ability to be accountable, as if to say the only reason why black men are disrespectful to black women is because they look up to rappers. Even if you want to say, well, where were the fathers to raise these boys? The question still falls on the mother. Why did you have a child with a man who wasn't going to teach your child certain responsibilities? Okay? Like in inner city areas, poverty doesn't always equate to bad behavior, but in certain areas, that's commonplace practice. And it's females who fund the rappers. Like, for example, look at Future. Future is a complete loser. And how many women are queuing up to have a baby for him just for a little bit of clout? So are they under duress as well? Are we going to blame the rappers for that as well? That these women are groupies running around trying to have a baby for a man who clearly doesn't want to own his kids? So as much as, the behavior was shocking, and you can't condone it, at the same time, it can't just be like, oh, the men, because first and foremost, these are not men. Now, some people are saying, oh, you can't say it's not all men. Well, there's a difference between a decent brother and a random, hood person, the N-word, okay? And the thing about it is this: in every group you have upstanding people and you have degenerates. And what a lot of black women online like to do is they like to lump all in together so they can crucify the good men with the degenerate ones. And the women breed with the degenerates. They breed the degenerates. They are the ones who are having children with these men. They are the ones who are uplifting them. They are the ones who are supporting them financially. You know, they're like, oh, I'm strong and independent. I don't need you to lead me, and I don't want, you know, I don't need your money. I've got my own. And then you end up being a pookie breeder. You know, raising a farm full of worthless men. You know, taking it back to the April Mason video, her standards are so, it's not even that her standards are high, her standards are in the correct place. Her standards are in order. There's no point in having high standards for low men. That's only gonna equal you being disappointed. But April Mason has the right kind of standards for the kind of men who are worth having high standards for. So at the end of the day, obviously, she's not going to have certain issues with being thrown in a dumpster because she's not trying to straighten out crooked men. You know, it's going back to this whole thing with the woman in the supermarket where she said the man, while she's trying to clean up the mall after the looting, he pulls a gun on her. There's that matriarchal thinking where I'm an older black woman and I can just tell you what to do, and let me just school you, as April Mason said, let me just school you. And you think these hood men and road men, they're going to sit back and tolerate that? They aren't. They don't care. They don't care about their own life, so why would they care about yours? And then you think you can just pull rank as oh, don't you see in me your mother? Don't you see in me your sister? That's exactly what she came out and said. This whole mentality of I'm every woman and every woman is me is going to put a lot of women at risk because they think they can just, you know, school every male like he's a boy. And some of them, they don't care who you are. You could be a big man, you could be a police officer, they don't care. They will pull something on you. You understand? So this whole mentality of, oh, I need to, you know, you need to just see every woman as your mother. No, sometimes you need to not be putting yourself in situations where you need to be protected. And know, you know, with all due respect, know your place and understand your weakness. And on the flip side, you know, obviously women need to do better with the men they have children with, and they need to make sure that they're raising their children right. And if the area is a area that is problematic, get out of that area. Okay? Get out of that mentality and get out of that area, because if you don't have strong families and a network, a support network for your kids, when they're going to school and about with their friends, you don't know what they're being influenced into doing. Okay, so there's so many moving parts here that I'm not condoning what these guys did, but we have to look at the whole picture. There are a lot of issues here with, you know, street guys who have no respect for anybody. You have a lot of people who are looked down on in society because allegedly maybe they're drug users. Apparently in this situation, the girl was provoking the boys. She's coming up to them, dancing on them, talking crazy, spitting at them, and then they retaliated. And the women who talk about only the bit where they retaliate, they're not really being fair to the guys who maybe even were the victims first. I'm not condoning their overreaction. They should have just walked away. But then if they don't know that they can walk away, that speaks to their upbringing as well. And it always goes back to the family. It always goes back to the parents. And the decision of who is born and who becomes a father is squarely on the mother, because it's her body, her choice. This is what women don't understand. Feminism has, and this concept of egalitarianism has told women everybody's equal and the same. Women do not understand how much men restrict their behavior. When they actually filter what they say, when they filter their strength, if they wanted to retaliate, this is exactly what can happen. You could get knocked out, you could end up in a dumpster. Women do not realize how much men actually exercise self-control when it comes to the nonsense that they carry on with. So when they're out here talking about, oh, all these men are attacking us, all these men are attacking us, how many times does a man just walk away because he doesn't want to, you know, get annoyed? How many times? But women never talk about that because they always have to play the victim. Wow. Okay, so I'm not condoning what these young men did. I do feel like to an extent it could even be, I mean, they didn't assault her per se. I mean, it's technically assault because they lifted her up and they touched her, but they didn't beat her, okay? And that's what the brother said in the audio. They just picked her up and put her in the trash. And she knows why, okay? And the people who are going to talk about how dare they, this is again that institutional contempt for the black man. This is the institutional misandry that is present in the black community. When a black woman says or does anything to a man, when no matter how much the man is the victim, it's deemed acceptable behavior. But when the woman is the victim, no matter what she done to provoke the situation, everybody should just come running to her defense. Okay, and it's not right, because what happens is you basically co-sign negative female behavior. And April Mason, in the video that I just uploaded, she keeps talking about, well, when brothers have this mentality of me and mine, what it's actually going to do is it's going to put your girls at risk. No. Teaching women as an older woman that you should be able to say or do whatever you like and there are no repercussions puts women in even greater risk. Because when you understand the consequences of your actions, you're not going to put yourself in certain position to begin with. Okay? Why are you flirting up with a group of random boys, touching them inappropriately? I mean, if she's touching them between the legs, is that not sexual assault? But no one says anything when it's the woman doing it to the boys or the girls doing it to the boys. But had a guy even made a suggestion about that, everybody would be up in arms. This is the double standard in the black community that allows certain negative things to continue. Okay? So I'm not condoning throwing a girl in the trash can, okay? But at the same time, it's full time for grown women to stop allowing their daughters to just be wild. Stop being wild and stop condoning wild behavior. Put down the feminist thinking. Drop back into your femininity. Drop back into your submissive role. Understand your vulnerability as a woman and just work with nature. That's all I've got for this one. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit the like, share and subscribe button and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.